What's up everybody and welcome to the channel. Today we're gonna go over 5 things that I am loving with the FL5 Honda Civic Type-R. This is a new acquisition, purchased this a little bit ago, and honestly, I'm having a heck of a lot of fun owning my first non-coupe. I've only ever bought 2-doored cars, but this has been a heck of a lot of fun. Let's get right into it with number 1, which is how insane this car is when you take turns. So this car just handles so incredibly well. It feels like it is on rails. You're also sitting in a bucket seat, and for me, I'm not only exceptionally comfortable, but these bottom bolsters and back bolsters just cradle me so well. I'm not moving when I'm in this car. The steering input is fantastic. We're in the plus R mode, which is the race mode in this car. Steering weight is heavy, the suspension dampers are stiff, and you just take turns like nothing. It is incredibly flat. There's literally no body roll. And while front wheel drive may not seem like a good thing, it helps you just put that power to the ground when you're coming out of a turn. It grips incredibly well. There's no understeer. Honestly, I'm not even finding oversteer. It is a joy. You can just pedal to the floor around a turn and it takes it. The handling is just so good. I want to take this to the mountains, the track, the autocrosses. I just want to take it on roads where there are turns left and right, back to back. This car craves being thrown around a twisty road. The handling is just brilliant. Number 2 is the looks inside and out, the overall styling with the FL5. Now honestly, the FK8, fine car, it drives great. Personally, not really my taste. I think it's a little overstyled on the exterior, looks too much like it's just got a crazy body kit, and the interior, a little generic given the old generation car. Nothing wrong with that car, just not quite my style. This looks so much better. It is so mature looking, it is aggressive, it is really sleek. It just kind of has the grown-up style that the old car didn't have. And I think it comes together incredibly well. You got this wide body design, everything's blacked out, there's no cheap plastic on the exterior. It just looks so nice. The rear end equally looks as good. The wing fits the body nicely. The overall body kit on this car, it's subtle, but also stands out in a good way. It looks like a much more premium car. The interior is equally as nice and refined looking with that amazing looking steering wheel with stitching. The air vents all come together. It's a subtle interior, but it's also bold at the same time. You got these insane, comfortable bucket seats in the red color. I mean, it really just comes together. Next up is the drive modes the Type-R offers. You would think a Honda Civic wouldn't really have any drive modes other than maybe some fake interior speaker sounds. However, this has drive modes like my old Nissan GTR, the Audi RS3. When you go up into individual mode, you can customize so much. The engine, there are 3 different settings the way the engine is going to be tuned. Steering, there are 3 different weights. You have light, medium, and really heavy. Suspension dampers, there's 3 settings as well, from comfort to the race setting. The fake engine sounds you do have, the rev matching you can turn on and off, and then of course the gauge cluster. So the fact that a Honda Civic, their sporty version, the Type-R, has drive modes to where it can get crazy weighted on the steering, very responsive in the engine, stiff dampers, and just turn into a little track car. I mean, the whole car is stiff. It feels like a car designed to be on the track. However, when I go down into comfort mode, the whole thing tones down. The suspension is now really soft, actually absorbing bumps. The steering is super light as well, and the whole car is just toned down. The throttle is less touchy. And of course you have the sport mode, which is in between the two, if you want kind of a blend, and then the individual mode where you can mix and match. For me, individual mode, I have everything in the race mode, but I have the comfort suspension and the sport steering to give me the sweet spot that I prefer. So the fact that there are drive modes in a $45,000 car that you would find on $100,000 cars, to me is absolutely mind-blowing. Next up is the fact that this car is incredibly practical. So the Honda Civic Type-R is based on their hatchback, which obviously means you got a hatchback, you have this privacy cover, we can get that out of the way, and you have so much trunk space. My wife and I can go golfing in this car, fit both of our bags in the trunk with the rear seats up, and still have so much extra room. On top of that, from back here, you can easily push these seats down, and with just the one seat, you could fit 2 snowboards in here. So once again, my wife and I can go on a snowboard trip in this car, still with an extra seat and plenty of extra storage space. how many performance cars with a manual and bucket seats have this type of practicality? And if you pop all the seats down, you could literally fit 2 bicycles in here. You could load this up with utility things. You know, we're gonna be building a house in the next year or so, and I can use this as a utility vehicle, loading it up with furniture, an extra lawnmower, and who knows what, bags of mulch, whatever I need to do, I think I can do it in this car. So the fact that I get a sports car and a utility vehicle all in one, I feel like makes this Type-R exceptionally useful for the day-to-day. This is a fantastic daily due to the amount of practicality it has, and you still get all the fun. So with all that said, number 5, the final thing that I love about this FL5 Civic Type-R is the price for what you get. Now this might come to a surprise. I traded in my manual transmission Mark V Toyota Supra for this car. That's a $60,000 car. Obviously that car is a step up from here. However, with personal goals my wife and I are working on, building a house in the next year or so, I wanted a cheaper car. But the cool thing is I was able to get that cheaper car that's also more practical and not sacrifice any of the fun. This car is so much fun to drive. It is so cool to rip through the turns and do everything that I would want to do in a performance car. And yet the pricing isn't anything to break the bank. It's kind of a nice step back to have a car that I don't really have to worry about. Now, 45 grand isn't the cheapest thing in the world, but honestly, it's nothing out of this world. It's below the industry average of a new car. And to now have a car that is a lot cheaper than anything I bought in several years is quite relaxing. You know, I loved the Supra, but I was paranoid if I got a chip on the hood. That's a clamshell hood. You got to repaint the whole front of that car if there's a chip on it. So I kind of got a little paranoid with certain roads. I didn't really want to leave it outside. It wasn't garage kept, and I never liked that. I don't like an expensive car sitting outside. You know, growing up, 30 grand was a lot of money to me growing up as a car. My parents never spent more than 30 grand on a car. And to me, 60 grand was always like that number of that's an expensive car growing up. And this car being significantly less than that, I just look at this a lot differently than I looked at my Supra or the RS3. I look at this like just a nice affordable car, nothing really crazy. I can drive it anywhere and I just don't have to care as much. Not to say I don't care about the car, but if it gets a chip on the front, honestly, I really won't care. It's a cheap enough car to where you can just have worry-free ownership and simply enjoy what it has to offer without getting any paranoid. The Supra was just a little bit too much money for a car that was sitting outside in such perfect shape to where I didn't want to hurt it in any way. The RS3 lives in the garage, so I'm cool with that. But this car, it's just been really nice having a car I can park anywhere, I can take anywhere, and I just don't have to care. I know that may sound bad, but honestly, that's a good thing. It's nice to have a car that you can just drive and don't worry about any of the little things that could happen. Just enjoy it, and it's just fun. So that really adds to the fun factor, since I don't really have to care about all the little things. So that is it. 5 things I love about the FL5 Honda Civic Type-R. I never thought I'd buy one of these, but it has been a blast. It's kind of just doing everything I'm wanting it to do. If you guys enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, stay tuned for plenty more content to come, and I'll see you all in the next video.